Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأولاده وأزواجه وأتباعه أجمعين. Dear students, again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's good. So, if you remember, the last time we were having this Tajweed class, we were talking about the Noon Saakin Tajweed rule. And we said that the Idgham that we were discussing divides into two groups. Idghamu bi Gunnah, which means Idgham with the nasal sound, and Idghamu bila Gunnah, Idgham or merging without the nasal sound. So we're discussing today the Idghamu bi ghayri Gunnah, or bila Gunnah, as they say. That means merging without nasalization. The merging of a noon sakin into the next letter. So the two remaining letters, which are Ra and Lam, from the letters of Yarmalun, Ya, Ra, Mim, Lam, Waw, and Noon. We said that Ya, Mim, Noon, and Waw, they were letters with the Gunnah, with the nasalization, that now the sound that comes from the nose here. And Ra and Lam are without any nasalization, without any Gunnah. So when one of these two letters come after a Noon Sakina or Tanween, then you fully merge Noon Sakin into the Ra or Lam. Okay, without having any nasal sound at all. Okay, so we'll quickly go over this. The example that we have here is Qulu. I'm going to read it first as it is written, okay, and then show you how to pronounce it. Qulu min rizqi, right? Qulu min rizqi rabbikum washkuru lah. But the way it should be read is Qulu mir rizqi. Mir rizqi. So you don't say the noon sakin at all. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
That's good. So this noon sakin here that I'm pointing at, it is almost not heard at all. So you don't read this noon, you go straight to the letter Ra or Lam. And in this case, it is Ra. And it should be read like this. Qulu mir rizqi. And you read the letter Ra light because it's coming with the kasra. Qulu mir rizqi. Qulu mir rizqi. Okay? Mir rizqi. You don't say mir rizqi because then you have some nasal sound coming out. There should be no nasal sound at all. Qulu mir rizqi rabbikum washkuru lah. Okay, next one is Wailun. Now you have here Wailun with the Dammatain. Yeah. And Dammatain means two Dammas. ويل لكل همزة لمزة. The reason why after noon sakin, ra and lam have tashteed on them is because noon sakin or tanween is being merged into it. So when you have a letter like ra or lam coming with tashteed after noon sakin, you read it like this, or tanween, because noon sakin and tanween rules are the same. Waylulli. You don't say the noon at the end at all. Yeah. You don't say waylun likulli. You say waylu. So you only read one dhamma here, and the next dhamma, which is the noon sakin one, is being merged into the lam. Waylul likulli humazatil lumazah. Yeah. So that shows how the idghamu bila gunnah is accomplished. Now we go on to the next part. An exception means there is a small change of this rule on these conditions. An exception of the idghamu bighayri gunnah or idghamu bila gunnah is that for example in Surah Al-Qiyamah ayah 27, due to a sakta, we've said in the past that sakta means a breathless pause, where you pause your sound but you keep your breath. Okay, so a breathless pause between the noon sakina and ra in the ayah وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. So here, if you can see my screen, I'm going to zoom in, all right, for those who are in the class here. You see the little scene that comes on top of the noon sakina. That means every time you see this little letter scene on top of the noon sakina, that means you stop the sound but keep the same breath. So it sounds as if you are completely stopping, but you're not. And you're supposed to continue. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. Now in this case, although ra, which is idghamu bila gunnah, rule of a noon sakin, yeah, but you don't merge the noon, since there is a break, and since there is a pause in between the two, the noon sakin and the ra. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. Otherwise, if there was no pause, then you should be reading like this, وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. Okay, but when you see the scene here, remember that, all of you, attention to this. When you see this little scene on top of a noon sakin, that means you come to that letter, which is right under it, yeah, and then you pause your sound but keep the same breath. So we read it as like this: وَقِيلَ مَنْ, then stop for a short time without taking a breath, then read raq. So that's the reason why we do not merge the noon into the ra in this case. Okay, so the sakta is what prevents the idgham from taking place, since it prevents the noon and the ra from meeting, right? The only way for you to merge a letter into another is if two of them meet, right? If there is a pause of the sound, you can't merge them, can you? So it's understandable that if there is a pause, automatically that means there is no merging. There's no idgham, so you just read it clear. Complete and incomplete merging. إدغام كامل وإدغام ناقص. Right. So the scholars are in agreement that when a noon sakina or tanween, yeah, merge with lam or ra, the idgham merge is complete. Idghamu kamil. So that is complete. Why? Because you don't hear a single small element of the noon sakin sound. So you read it as we read in this case here. كلوا من رزق ربكم واشكروا له or ويل لكل همزة لمزة. So you do not hear any noon sakin sound at all. Okay. Now, the complete merging is denoted by a shadda. The complete merging is denoted by a what? A shadda. So the next letter where the noon sakin is being merged into, that letter has a shadda on it, and so that means it is signaling that there is a merging happening here. There is agreement among the scholars also that when a noon sakin or tanween merge with a ya or a waw, that this idghamu naqis. This is idghamu naqis. Incomplete merging. The reason is that there is half of the sound coming from the nose and half from the mouth, right? So there's a leftover from the noon of a gunnah from the noon sakin sound, and the ya and the waw do not have a gunnah in their characteristics. So how do you know if a letter has any gunnah in it? Pronounce that letter and then put your hand on top of the nose here, on the hard bone of the nose, and see when you're saying that letter, is there any vibration going on? You'll feel the vibration of the nose, and that means there is a sound coming through it. Okay? So this is the reason you do not see a shadda over the ya and the waw in the majority of the printings of the Quran, when there is idgham. So the great scholars have also agreed to that as well. Okay, so this is it as far as this rule is concerned, and we will now go through the testing of each one of you, and the recording is now going to end. So after this, then we'll go through individually with each one of you, trying to make sure that we've got this covered and practically correct in every possible way. Thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.